everyone, and welcome to the Fintelligent Investor channel, and welcome to this show, The Professional on Call Who Knows It All. And today we have with us Mr. Vinayak Pai. Vinayak Pai is the founder director of Abhiyan Consulting and Digital Solutions Private Limited, a leading CRM consulting firm, and the founder of Hospitune, a hospital transformation company. With nearly 30 years of experience, he has been instrumental in providing CRM solutions across sectors such as pharma, retail, real estate, hospitality, and healthcare. Vinayak has worked with renowned brands including Pfizer, Raymond, Taj Hotels, ICICI Prudential, The Sirai, and many more. Hospitune is dedicated to enhancing hospital operations by integrating care, comfort, and convenience, ensuring better patient experiences and operational excellence. By 2027, Hospitune aims to transform 5,000 mid-sized hospitals, improving the lives of 1 million patients daily and saving over 2 lakh caregiver hours each day, contributing to a more efficient healthcare system. Welcome to the show, Vinayak.
Thank you, Pratiksha, for having me on your show. It's very nice of you and kind of you.
So today we are having Vinayak on this show for a very I should say not only important, but really a very pressing matter, which is the need of the day, which is the protection of your personal data that you may be sharing knowingly, unknowingly, willingly, unwillingly on various digital platforms. We will get to know a lot more about the DPDP, Digital Personal Data Protection Act from Vinayak, which, sometimes this may look small, but your personal data protection is the need of the hour, and you must watch this video so as to make yourself better aware of your rights and your responsibilities as a person sharing personal data on digital platforms. So, Vinayak, first and foremost, when it comes to DPDP Act, Digital Personal Data Protection Act, what is this act and why does it matter? Can you tell for the benefit of our audience?
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you. See, it's a very, very important thing for all of us, and it impacts each one of us. So the DPDP Act stands for Digital Personal Data Protection Act 2023. Actually, it was passed in 2023, and it's been over a year, okay, that the rules were not out, but just recently, a month back, that the government has come up with the rules. Okay, and these rules, they have given around 45-50 days for the industry to come back. And I would also I would recommend Pratiksha, as a CA and a person who handles CS, to have a look at the rules and see how it is going to impact your business. Also, it's going to impact everybody. Okay, so to come back to DPDP, why? Okay, so I will maybe I know generally when we have a larger session, I do ask questions, but I will ask you questions, okay, so that it make this atmosphere more lighter, and maybe it resonates with you.
Absolutely.
So I
and
always
we will also get to know what a layman like me would know in the digital data protection.
Fantastic, fantastic. Very great, very, very kind of you to know that. So the first question is, how much, if you look at it today, India, as people now, we do not believe in a concept of privacy. If you look at it, okay, there's no concept of privacy. Okay. The doors of our houses are open for anybody and anybody to come whenever they want, right? We don't have a habit of knocking doors when we go inside, right? We just barge in. Correct. So globally, privacy is very, very important to each one of them. Okay, whether it's a very, very menial person on the road or a very rich guy. So privacy is not only for the big people or the people who are educated. Privacy is for everybody, and we need to respect that, which is not something which Indians are known to do. Okay, so that's why, and with the proliferation of all these Facebooks of the world, things like TikTok and all, the government felt that the data has a big opportunity of getting misused. Right. And it can be misused. And you would have seen that in 2016, 2018 US elections, all the social media played such a huge role in swaying people's mind. Do you know that Brexit, if you remember Brexit, right, when Britain decided to move out of, it was lost by 0.1%. And all that happened because of the amount of data which came because of all these platforms. Real, fake, we don't know. So the government felt the need that we have to do something. So there was a commission in 2018 called as Justice Sri Krishna Commission, which came up with the first version of privacy.
Okay.
Okay. The challenge with that was it never got implemented. And what happened is by the time they came out, a lot of changes had happened. Suddenly you had COVID hitting us. Okay. So that is when the government decided, let's reframe the Data Protection Act. And that's when they started work on the new Data Protection Act. And now the most important thing to be remembered is that anything that is digital is covered. So for an example, let's say you are a homemaker, okay? And you are selling pickles to somebody, okay? And you have taken the name of my name and you have put a phone number in an Excel sheet, okay? You are now covered under the Data Protection Act. Now you are supposed to protect that data of your end consumer. And now individuals or businesses are both covered. This is the first time it has happened that both are covered.
So just to ask, if this data is not digital, if I'm writing this data on a piece of paper, then it doesn't come under this act.
No, it doesn't come under this act. So let's have another scenario. Okay, you are sitting, I'm talking to me, right? You open, there's something called as a notepad, right, on your machine. You open notepad, you write my name, you write my mobile number, it will get covered under the Data Protection Act.
Okay. Now, if there is an Excel sheet and 2-3 people have access to it, then on whom does the onus fall?
So depends upon who has given them the Excel sheet. So let's assume in your company, okay, if you have a bunch of interns using your setup to do anything, you're responsible for it.
Okay.
Okay. So whoever owns the Excel sheet will be the person who is responsible for it. So in your company, even if some of your interns messed it up by mistake, okay, they gave the Excel sheet to somebody they shouldn't have given, you are liable for it. So please understand, anything which is digital now gets covered in the Digital Personal Data Protection Act. And it is important that it covers the homemaker. It will cover somebody who's doing small business. It is somebody who's doing 10,000 crore ka business, 2,500 crore ka business, 100 crore ka business, 50 crores ka business. So there's nobody who's out of this scope now.
So is it only for Excel sheets or even for numbers stored in WhatsApp or our phone contacts and all that?
See, there is ambiguity in some of those things. Okay. Ideally, what will happen is the WhatsApp will be on your mobile, which is under your control. So generally, what we have noticed is people are not able to misuse WhatsApp. Okay. Maybe you can create a broadcast list and send, but if you're sending a broadcast list, then it is always recommended that if you're not asked for permission, then at least next time you ask for permission, that I am sending you something by a broadcast list. Okay. So give you a case example. Now, I'm sure you would have interviewed a lot of people for your intelligent investor, right? Right. Now you decided, okay, I want to tell them about every podcast that is coming. Correct. So what do? The easiest thing you do is go in WhatsApp and create a broadcast list. Okay. And every time you have that, you click on that and you send it out. Isn't that correct?
Right.
Now, what happens is you are protected only if you are asked Vinayak, okay, can I put your name in the broadcast list? Okay. Now I would say, okay, you are, because I want to hear from you. But there could be people who may say, I don't want it. So you technically can't put it. That's number one. Now, number two, it would have happened that you keep on sending. Okay. I got bored of you. Okay. So every time you send a message, at the bottom, you should always make it a habit of writing. See, we are sending this message because you agreed to be part of the broadcast list. If you don't want, please tell me and then I'll remove it out. And next time you should be able to remove it there. So that's a recommended practice, and that's the practice we have been doing for ages. When we have worked with a lot of client bases and all that. See, we run a platform like Wonder Woman Wednesday, where we ask for permission on everything. Because it is, even the videos which go out now, we will show it to the client first and ask permission. Because what happens is that the customer needs to be aware what is happening with their data which has been used.
Correct.
So this is what data protection is, and as I just to summarize, it's applicable to individuals also, and it's applicable to businesses also. So nobody's out of it. And second point is, anything which is digital managed by you, you are liable for it.
Okay. So what rights do people have under this DPDP law?
Okay, so there are fundamentally many rights which are part of the entire concept of DPDP Act. Okay. Now, first is what is called as the right to access, means what data has been captured by the organization or a person. Now, so let me give you an example. Okay, let's assume you go to a retail store. Okay, now if you've gone to a retail store, many times people ask for your mobile number.
Right.
Okay. Then they will say, madam, can you give me your name, your phone, your email ID, and all that stuff, right? So that is something which you are aware of because they have asked for it and you have given it. Okay. Now what happens is there's a chance using that data, they may get data from any other source. Because I have your email ID or I have my mobile number, I may get some data from Facebook. I may get some data from LinkedIn. Isn't that correct? It may happen.
Correct.
So you as the owner of that information can always ask that company, please tell me what is the data you hold of mine. So that is called as a right to access. Okay. So it is very important to remember that the right to access is to give you a sense that these are the 5 things or 10 things you're holding. Now, previously, there is something called as a data massage. Data massage means what? I have some data. I have your phone number, I may have your name, but I may go to LinkedIn, I may go in the market, search, gets more information about you. But today I don't ask your gender, but I'm able to find out gender from somewhere. Okay, and that data is got. So now the data which you have got, whether it was straight which you gave or a massage data, it has to be told to you. So that is called as right of access. So just to take one step back, I want to add 3 jargons. Okay, I prefer not using jargons. Okay, there's a concept called as data principle. Now, what's a data principle? A data principle is an individual whose data we are talking about. So, in your case, Pratiksha Pai, okay, your phone number, your email ID. So, you are a data principle for a company. Okay, so any person, any individual is always going to be called as a data principle, means the originator of the original data. Okay, so your name and
data someone else is holding.
Holding. Okay. Now the person who is holding your information is called as a data fiduciary. Now fiduciary means in you I trust. Means what? That when I give you data, I trust you with my data. It is like this, yeah. Sometimes now, just a quick question: do you stay in a flat or do you stay in a, your own this thing?
I stay in an apartment.
You stay in an apartment, no? So sometimes what you do is na, you give the neighbor को आपका घर का एक चाबी you give, right?
Yeah.
What do you tell her? That I trust you, that's why I'm giving my घर का चाबी, right?
Yes.
So technically, if you are the data principal here, and the person who's keeping your chavi is called as a data fiduciary.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, what happens is now, have you used Tally?
Yes.
Your life goes on Tally, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, remember, you have a customer whose data you're taking. Correct?
Yes.
You're putting in Tally. Who is putting in Tally? You are putting in Tally. And Tally is a third-party software.
Correct.
So anything which binds the data fiduciary with the data principal is called as a data processor.
Okay. Now here, data processor itself is a separate company, right?
It could be a separate company. It could be a software, whatever it could be. Okay. So give you an example. Have you ever got call from
every day? They are my best friends.
They are your best friends, right? Now, what happens is now your data has been given by to a third party. So that third party is a data processor. So legally, if you go by it now, if any misuse happens, the first person who's going to be legally bound by it is a data fiduciary. Now the data fiduciary can have an agreement, will have an agreement with that, you can't misuse my data, but if anything happens, they can always sue them. Remember, one of the rules of data DPDP will be that you'll have to tell, okay, who are the people who are processing your data.
Oh.
Okay,
oh,
so legally you're supposed to say ki your call data is processed by this company, your email data for campaign is processed by this company. So we are legally supposed to now tell who is doing what part of the business. Okay.
So this when is it coming into effect actually?
See, technically, no, the law is there. The rules were not there. The law is there. The law has been there from 2023. what has happened is now they have, because see, you can't have a law without knowing what the rules are, right? Like your GST, right? GST is a law, but there are rules which you have to follow, right? Ki 10 तारीख को ये भरना है, 20 तारीख को ये भरना है. Those are the rules, right? They are not the law, right?
Correct.
Tomorrow they can change the rules, right?
Correct.
So they have given around 45 days for people to go ahead and put their representation to the government if they feel any of the rules are against what they feel perceive is wrong. So give you an example. One of the biggest challenges which are happening is, having data stored outside of the country.
Oh.
So that's a big challenge. So a lot of companies are objecting to that. Like a Facebook, Meta will say, "Yaar, how do I manage?"
Correct.
You get my point.
Correct.
So once the rules are formed, and I'll assure you one thing from my limited knowledge of the government, how it works, 80-90% will be the same as what is there in the draft rules.
Correct. Yes. Maybe
Only
some changes here and there.
Here and there. But otherwise, everything, whatever is in the rules, and government bulldozes things. So they have the power to do that. They will do it. Okay. And generally, what happens is, when the rules are notified, then you get 2 years to implement them. Okay. Generally.
So how can businesses follow this DPDP?
Yeah, I'll answer that once I finish with the rights, because then it will help you.
Okay.
The other thing is now, just a question. Do you by any chance use a product called as?
Yes.
Okay. Now, have you ever seen you getting messages like Ganda Admi, Loan ke Vyapari? You would have got that, right? You must have seen that many times, right? Now, that could be some person's name. So that may not be the name. So that person now will legally have the right to go to these people and say, यहाँ पे loan के व्यापारी नहीं, यहाँ पे विनायक पे डालना.
Correct.
So you have a right, for corrections, if there are any corrections which have to be made. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Now the problem is, this rule will impact lot of insurance people and all that stuff. Okay. So again, there's a problem. So they have to figure out how. Now, right of, if I say right of correction, then today your name is Pratiksha Pai. Okay, you decided not to change your name. Okay, but if you decide to change your name legally, now the right of correction is available, which previously was a very tough job.
Right.
So you will have now got every right to correct. Now people will generally say, "Yaar, I understand in certain places you may want to change." Now, but there are a lot of people who are not comfortable. So they may go to a retailer and say, "Bhai, mera ye naam hai, change it to this name." So that's your second right. Now, third right is called as a right to consent. Now, this is one of the most powerful thing, I believe, of DPDP Act. The biggest one. The funda is very simple. You have to get explicit consent to use my data now. So when you go now, you must have gone if you go to McDonald's or somewhere now, they'll say, "Sir, give me your phone number." You give the phone number because you will get a bill there and all that stuff. Okay. Now that is not an explicit consent. So you have to now legally get explicit consent कि I will take this phone number and I will use this phone number only to send you a bill, nothing else. Okay. Now you took the phone number for sending a bill, but you send me a promo message. That's a violation of the consent.
Right.
Okay. So please remember that going forward, you may want to take now, like you get a lot of data, right, from your customers. It is a recommended practice now. You take consent key. I will use the data to do this activities for you.
Okay.
Sign off from your customer. See, today the consent was implicit, correct?
Right.
He hired you because you are a CA and you are supposed to do this job as per the job sheet which is agreed.
Correct.
Okay. Now what you have to do is, in that now you may want to actually go back to them, put in the same job sheet, and you say, I take explicit consent to use your data to do this.
Oh my God.
Okay. It's a recommended practice. See,
right.
As long as the customer doesn't sue you, now you will not have a problem. Okay. Please.
Correct.
Okay. Now, if you are doing B2B now, you may not have a issue. Means the customer has B2B customers. You may not have an issue. The minute the customer has a B2C connect and there is data which is stored in the tally, then you have a problem, because the problem is on the same tally you are putting the customer data also with phone number and all. कुछ हो गया तो liability आपके ऊपर से भी आती है.
Yeah, that is true. So on one side, it is actually good, but on the other side, for the customers, I mean, for the businesses, it's a bit, catch-22 situation. Even if...
No, I'll tell you what. There are a lot of people who work in Europe. Now they are willing to follow GDPR. So why not DPDP?
Correct. Correct.
So,
That's
so
true.
you can't give that. Nobody now can give me that saying कि यार हम GDPR करेंगे क्योंकि वो फॉरेनर है, बट इंडिया में नहीं करेंगे क्योंकि इंडिया में क्यों करना चाहिए. So, and I'm telling you some of the things. Okay, some of the things which are going to be done by DPDP now will be implemented globally, because the amount of things which India is able to do because of the magnanimity of the data, no other country can do that except for China, where there's nothing. तुम्हारा कुछ भी, there's nothing, no privacy at all in China. Okay, so consent. Now there is one more consent. Okay, now I'll talk about another scenario, two more scenarios. One is called as medical consent. Have you heard of medical consent? जाओ साइन लेके आओ, नहीं
Yes.
तो तुम मरेगा तो हमको मालूम नहीं है,
Yes.
all that stuff,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Right now it's on paper, but there is a big chance that the government and the health department will push this to become a digital consent. Now once it becomes digital, now it's going to be painful, because the government has started work on something called as the ABHA card. You
Okay.
heard? ABHA is the Aadhaar based health records which the government wants to store of you. Okay, if you consent to it. Now once your data is stored, let's say tomorrow you go to some place and you fall ill, now you don't need to carry all that paper anywhere. Just
Oh,
give the Aadhaar
wow.
card and give them the OTP. They will see your entire health records from whenever you have
Oh, God,
uploaded it.
that's amazing. That's amazing.
Okay, so it is very, very important and critical for all of us to remember that medical consent over a period of time may necessarily go in a digital form. Because
Absolutely.
if ABBA has to work, then everything has to be digital. Okay, that's the second. Now the third consent, and again a very, very sticky consent for a parent like you who have young children, is the consent for children to use
Mm.
systems and solutions. Like once your kid becomes little bit bigger, he or she may want to go into Instagram.
Oh my God, yeah.
Okay, now once they get into Instagram or Snapchat, what are the children consent? So that's one more sticky point which is happening on children consent.
Right.
So the third point was right to consent. And remember that it has to be explicit. It can't be an implicit consent. You can't say opt out of it. A customer or a data principal has to opt in. There's nothing like a opt out. Means I can't say I agree to the condition and you have put the tick and you remove it. You can't do that. I am supposed to go tick it. And once I tick it now, I should be also be able to give a consent. I can say, okay, Pratiksha, I will give you only consent to look at my transaction. But you can't do anything related to marketing with me.
Oh, okay.
So for everything you do, every business model you do, you will have to have consent taken.
Okay.
And one thing, certain things you cannot deny. Okay, like now example. Okay, you went to McDonald's. You said I am not giving my phone number. They can't say तेरे को खाना नहीं दूंगा. तुम बिल प्रिंट मार के दो.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
So,
Yes.
so what is going to happen? The consent will become, now what will happen is now you will be respected as a person. पहले कैसे था? You were never as a data principal ना, तुम्हारा कोई respect ही नहीं था. Means people could get away with murder by saying हो गया. Okay, so
Correct.
that is one thing which is now moving out. Okay, then another interesting thing is there's a concept called as right to forget. Now this is another powerful thing which is happening again, on which a lot of debate is happening. Now what is right to forget? Let me explain to you. Okay, right to forget means you have my data. Okay, one day I decide I don't like Pratiksha at all, and I don't want her to use my data at all. So I can come to her and say, boss, remove all my data in all your digital mediums where I am. Means you
Okay.
don't know there was a person called as Vinayak Pai ever existed in your life, in your business.
Oh, so we can go to all these medical stores and this fast food outlets and supermarkets and tell them that please delete my data.
Correct.
Okay. So
Okay.
till now, whatever data we have given, we can just demand that it be deleted.
Yes.
Okay.
It can be asked. Now the biggest challenge is, see, I'll tell you one thing. I do a lot of effort to convince Pratiksha to come to my store. I do a lot of marketing. I love, so look from a business angle. If you keep on telling me delete my record, then मैं धंधा कैसे करूंगा? So that's a very, very sticky point as far as the rules are concerned. We करेंगे कैसे? And another thing you remember, I told you every digital medium. So अगर आपका data, sometimes now what people do, you can't do a lot of things in your software. So what do? You export into Excel, correct? And you
Right.
work on it. तो
Right.
वहां से भी उठाने का है वो.
Yeah.
Now we still have to figure out ki what will be that impact when I delete a record. Ki what will happen to the transactions? What part of the transactions? Like I'm till now I'm not clear. Like GST. Okay. Now, how does it impact? I'm not aware of now. So I'm trying to read the rules and figure out how does it impact. Because see, please understand the rules are unfortunately sweeping rules. Now nobody has given a thought कि साला GST पे कैसे impact करेगा, इस पे कैसे impact करेगा. Nobody knows. How will now I don't know how is it going to impact a medical devices company. So that's why what I told you at the beginning of the conversation was that you may have to read the rules and go back to the government and say, boss, this will not work in this amount.
Correct.
And you will have to give the
And
representation.
now, on which date is it set to become an
I
act
think so. It
from?
was no, the act is already set. The rules are
Okay.
not there.
So even today, I can go to a medical store and tell that I have a right to tell you to delete my records.
No.
Yeah.
The rules have not been notified. No, the
Okay.
minute
So when is it coming into force? Any idea?
see, from my understanding, they had given 18th of February or something like as a deadline for representation.
Okay.
But that doesn't seem to happen. I think so. Next financial year, most probably it will happen.
Okay.
And remember, every business will be given. Normally, see, businesses are given 1 or 2 years to port. Okay, it's not that कि परसों जाके आप पूछोगे तो होएगा, because that person may not have it. No systems.
So, like say now, for example, from the next financial year, once the DPDP Act comes into the force, I will have a right to go to all these chemist shops or fast food outlets, supermarkets, and other shops where I go for shopping and tell them to delete my phone number or my email ID or whatever data they've taken from me.
Yeah.
Now, my question is, there will be crores of people doing this, okay, where there are medical shop like chemist store chains or something like that. Crores of people across India would be going and telling that this is my right as per the DPDP Act and you have to delete my data. Now, wouldn't it be prudent for such chains or such shops to just delete all data as soon as this comes into force?
See, generally, I'll tell you, you would only use that right, okay, the right to delete on extreme conditions.
Hmm.
Now, if you're going to use that guy every day of your life, okay, you may want to have that data. Otherwise, you have to do the whole process over and over again, na, every time.
Correct.
You would do only with people where you have a trust issue,
Correct.
okay, or you believe that after this, I'm never ever going to use it.
Correct.
तो इट इज नॉट कि कल जाके आप बोलोगे कि भाई मेरा होटल में से डेटा हटा दो. इट डजंट वर्क. नाउ इट सी यू नाउ लेट्स assume you decided to go to Goa, okay, with your family, and you know this hotel I'm going to stay only once. Then you can obviously ask for it.
Right.
Okay, but let's say you are staying at the Taj and you may go to any Taj in the country tomorrow. You may not ask about it, and you will also look at the brand, no, before taking a call. कि
Right.
मेरा डेटा सेफ है क्या उधर. इज माई डेटा सेफ? इफ माई डेटा सेफ, आई विल बी केयरफul. If I believe that the data is safe, not safe, I will delete. I will not give them business also. Now forget usage of data. I will not give them business.
Correct. Correct.
So
Correct.
right of delete. So actually one more area which people don't think about, because of some reason now your name gets connected to some other name on Google, and you are given a bad name on Google. Okay, when you're searching Pratiksha Pai, some name, something happens because of something. You can now go to Google and say, boss, delete this search.
Oh, wow. That is also
Okay, I'm
good.
not talking of purely like this. Like if you remember, some time back, okay, some politicians were told that they are fascist when they write, who is this politician? Now it may be an incorrect characterization of the person.
Correct.
Now,
Correct.
till then you didn't have a ability to go ahead and delete it. Now you can tell Google you have to delete it.
Okay. That's amazing. That's good to
Okay,
know.
so that becomes a very important factor. Okay, and the fifth, obviously, which I told you, is how the data is going to be used.
Yeah. So now from the business side of it, like see, because at the end, the one whose neck will be caught will be those businesses. So how can businesses follow this DPDP Act properly and ensure that they are on the right side of compliances?
Okay. Fantastic. Now, just a small correction, just to add, it is not businesses. It is individuals and businesses
Okay.
are or who are using anything digital asset to handle a customer. Okay, so that was a
Okay.
small correction.
Yes, yes,
Now, the
absolutely.
only difference is the individuals will be handled very differently, and obviously the businesses will have to handle very differently. So first and foremost, which I told you, is that when I am taking your information, I have to get a clear cut and explicit consent from
Hmm.
you. That, and when you get consent, please again remember, the consent cannot be sweeping now, huh?
Okay.
Means it can't be a consent where it says I can send marketing emails also, this also, that also, everything. No. You have to ask for every transactional thing which can happen. Like I have to give consent for sending my transaction information. I have to give consent for sending me marketing information.
Oh my
So,
God.
so everything will be now be
Ah.
consent driven.
So it sounds very difficult because, the process is going to be very cumbersome, is what I feel when I listen to this.
Okay, so let me answer that. Okay, so a lot of companies are coming up with a solution called as consent managers.
Ah,
So it will be a digital thing. So neither customers nor business. It's an opportunity for me, right? Example, I can give you a solution where when you come, you tick tick tick, it saves. It will be saved date, time, IP, whatever it is. Ki where did I get the consent? Because tomorrow, if I have to prove that you have given a consent, I may want to know which IP you came from, right?
correct.
So all that will be captured. So it's not a big deal.
Okay. So I think this is opening up new job opportunities
Oh,
also.
absolutely. Especially in the time. But what will happen is many of them will get solved by using AI.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. That is also
So,
there.
so what I'm trying to tell you is that consent is the first thing which any business and individual. See, I'll tell you what. I'll give you an example. Have you ever gone to a small place where they have all these, like Malleshwaram and all, they have that pop-up stores, right?
Right.
Where you go, there are a lot of nice ladies selling something or the other. Then
Right.
they'll say, can you give me a phone number? Okay, correct. How many of them have ever asked you, can I use this phone number to send you information?
No, 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 no.
They don't, right? Now, if you go by the rules and regulation, they have to ask you.
Right.
Now, see, you may not necessarily go after a lady, okay? You
Of
may not
course.
have the bandwidth, you may not have a time. But now, let's say a big company does that to you. You're going to, you're going to ensure that you follow up with them, right?
Absolutely.
And now what is going to happen is that there will be a lot of changes which will happen. Okay, maybe WhatsApp will come up with a solution where they will say, okay, unsubscribe from a broadcast list, which you can't do.
Absolutely.
Maybe WhatsApp may come with that solution
Hmm. Because
because
here
today,
WhatsApp becomes the processor in the.
correct, WhatsApp is a processor.
Right. Right.
Okay, so that's the first thing. The other thing is now is to implement good security processes.
Hmm.
Okay, so that your data is never misused. See, I'll tell you what. Couple of days back, ICICI data got hacked.
Oh.
Okay, so in this world now, okay, nothing is safe. Okay, but now what will happen is once the rules would have come now, okay, they have to now go and tell a particular government authority. There is a data protection authority which is going to come saying that my data got stolen or my data got hacked, and there's a timeline within which they need to tell, and they have to tell breaches very fast. Breaches means when data gets stolen or whatever. Do you know there was a company globally who was into VPN? You understand VPN, the virtual private
Yes, sir.
network. Can you believe your passwords were put in text format?
Oh my
So
God.
anybody who has access to the text file, you would get the password. So you will have to have good data thing. And the most important thing, Acha, give you an example. In many offices like yours, small offices, 10 people, 20 people, you keep on getting emails, right?
Right.
Okay, now many times the data doesn't get stolen because you didn't put a system or practice in place. What happens is somebody clicked on an email which was malicious, which allows them entry into your system.
Hmm.
So training of your staff then becomes
Is
that much
also
more
very
important.
necessary. Yeah.
Okay, important
Yes.
and necessary, but it's more important that people are given. Okay, then obviously, as I told you, based on the rights, okay, you may want to allow systems to correct the things if they, as and when they want it. Okay, now you can put certain rules for data corrections and all. Means you may take certain documents and all. You'll have to figure out how. Now I'll give you another example. Have you opened up a current account recently?
Yes. I mean, I have one.
Okay, you would have now. How much of paperwork do you give? Do you see?
Yeah.
You give a MOA, AOA, you give your
Yes.
Aadhaar card, you give your PAN card. What is now remaining to be stolen? वो उसका तेरे WhatsApp, they can just take a photo and send it, and your data is stolen straight. So
Right.
now what will happen is an HDFC bank or ICICI bank will have to figure out digital method of doing this. They are doing this paper method because they feel कि government requires signatures. See, which may I was going to write to this thing. See, you have GST ka all data available on the GST portal. You have PAN card data which is available on the income tax portal.
Correct.
You have all the company data on a MCA portal. Why the hell do you need a EOA and printed from me?
Correct.
Figure a way of digitally signing it, no?
Correct.
So that no data needs to be given. Now, when you
There
can
are now many startups coming up who are looking at doing KYC in a digital manner.
So for personal, individual, they have allowed. They have not done it for current accounts.
Okay, right. No, and
For
even for loan disbursing nowadays, the KYC part happens digitally, and even
loan
for
dis no,
DMAT and all that.
no. See, loan dispersing also it happens digitally only if you're salaried.
Okay.
Not if you are a business person. Business person है तो वही गधा मजूरी है.
Yeah.
Okay, so these are some of the things you may want to as a and see the larger the company, you may have a data protection officer, like how you have CTO, CIO. Now you will have to have a DPO, data protection officer, whose
Correct.
job is to protect data, erase data, and all that stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And one more important thing is now you may there is one more thing which is very important will be that you can now if something doesn't happen, let's say you decide not to delete my data, even if I will have a right to a grievance, so you will have that grievance cell also in the DPO.
Correct.
Okay, so
Absolutely.
data protection thing. Okay, so lot of things are happening, lot of things are confusing at this point of time.
Yeah,
uh,
absolutely.
and even after 8 years of GST, we are still screwed up on GST, right? Okay,
Yes.
half the
That is
time.
why I always tell my students that GST is the best career option because it will go on and on until you retire. So I tell them it's the best career option.
So
The more the ambiguity, the better the career option.
yeah, obviously no. See, the government also leaves ambiguity so that सब पैसा कमाना चाहिए ना. That's the reality. Okay, but the idea is this, that you may want to ensure that you train your people. See, please
Correct.
understand, the concept is very simple. If you want your data to be protected by others, then you have to do the same for others, right?
Correct.
So that is how I would look at things. Why should I safeguard your data if you're not safeguarding mine?
Correct.
So that is where we come from.
So now, from the person's point of view, like what can they do? Any simple things which a person can do to safeguard their own data?
Okay. Okay, I'll ask you a simple question. Which are the email IDs do you have other than office IDs? Which are not official, okay?
Personal email IDs are there.
How many you have?
I think I have 2, 3.
Okay. Is the password the same for each one of them?
No,
You kept. And
different.
how difficult is your password?
I always have to put forget password. It is. I never remember.
Okay. So the answer to this is now, first of all, when you have email IDs and all, which are now core of many things, right?
Right.
Okay. So you must always have different passwords for each one of them.
Okay.
Okay, that's number one. Okay. Number two, okay, when you have these passwords now, don't keep your date of birth, your girlfriend's name, dog's name, and all that in the password.
Easy
Keep
to
something
crack.
which nobody can guess. See,
Yeah.
finally, do you know more than 50-60% of the passwords can be guessed today? Huh? Okay, that's the second. Now, third, what you can do is now there are tools like password authenticators.
Oh.
Okay, now what is a password authenticator? The minute you put a password now, okay, it will ask you for a OTP which regenerates every 30 seconds. A new OTP keeps on regenerating.
Oh.
So you may want to use that solution so that
Correct.
when the password is put also, you need to put that OTP. So you have what is called as
Two-step
two-factor. It's called as the
verification.
2FA or two-factor authentication.
Authentication. Yeah.
Protect using that. Okay, and the
Right.
best part is these OTPs are not in a SMS format. You have to open the app, see the OTP, and put it there, and it keeps on changing.
Okay.
You get my point? Today,
Okay,
bank
so if someone
information.
is trying to mirror your phone as well.
No. If they mirror, they'll get it. It's not a
Oh, okay.
problem. If they
Yeah,
mirror it, they will get it.
that's completely
But if
another
you
world.
but if you want to put a password, you can put in. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Now, in one of the sessions, okay, there was a lady who spoke to me and said, Vinayak, that day I went for a training session. I gave so much of information because they asked for so much of information. Now, nobody takes a step back and asks, why do they need so much of information? Okay. So be very, very cautious. I'll tell you one thing. Okay. This is the reality. Okay. Most of the people, the mobile number and email ID which you give is the same which you are using in the bank. And many people ask for a date of birth. Date of
Right.
birth, I didn't say birth date, okay? Date of birth. So technically, you're putting the whole thing. So technically, you have all the information. And if you ask for an address, means there's nothing left. No. So be careful on the kind of data you're giving to anybody. And you should ask them, कि क्यों चाहिए? क्या करेगा उस data से? Now, those are some of the things which will now start getting protected. कि
So
अभी
can people just purchase a new SIM and in all their bank accounts just give the new number and not use that number for anything else?
it's a
Uh,
very good idea. It's a very good idea.
So then even on those SIM, if we get certain calls, we'll know that the banks may have only.
Sorry. Okay, so what I'm saying is you create a new email ID, buy a new SIM, keep the SIM in some other phone which is generally not used for anything.
Right.
Keep it
So
separately.
absolutely. So nowadays we get one small phone for 15-20,000. Just put a new SIM in that. Don't have any other apps in that, and give only that number to banks and important
Yeah, and your email
ones.
ID.
And a
Email
different
ID.
email ID. Yeah.
So that is secondly. Now, third, did you know that the things like Facebook and all have a lot of privacy settings?
Right.
Okay, now what happens is by default, the privacy is open.
Right.
So Facebook wants all the data, right? So you can always go to all these privacy settings and keep on changing your privacy based on your requirement. And a lot of people are not aware of this. Okay, it's a lot of people. Okay, so you must make it a habit of knowing what are the privacy settings and what you can change. Okay, now have you traveled by flight recently, Pratiksha?
Yeah.
When was the last time?
I think January, first week of January.
Fantastic. Now, if you go to BIL, na, there
Mm-hmm.
is a Phuket ka Wi-Fi.
Right.
Do you use it?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I feel that entire process too cumbersome. By that time, my boarding will start. So I.
So your reason is very different, but a lot of people use public Wi-Fi.
Right.
That's called as a public Wi-Fi. So it is not encrypted. So if
Uh-huh.
you are putting a password in your, there's a chance that it can get stolen.
So that if we are staying at a resort and using their Wi-Fi, it is better that we do not do any bank transactions or something at that point in time, right?
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. That's right.
Okay.
Okay. Then, as I was telling you, use two-factor authentication, which I told you if you remember.
Correct.
Okay. And one of the many things which people don't do. Okay. Many websites have something called as HTTPS. There's a lock will come on the top
Right.
of websites. Okay. So please ensure that the lock is there if you're doing any financial transactions.
Okay.
That's number one. Number two, never download any app other than from your Play Store or your App Store.
Mhm.
Now, what happens is now all this digital arrest and all that, what they actually do is they will force you to download an app. Now, once it's a APK, APK is a version where you don't have it bypasses all the security. Now, when you open that app, what happens is then they get entire access of the phone. Okay. Now, how do I safeguard? Okay, I'll tell you one tip. Okay, to safeguard all that. Okay, and please do not panic. Okay, the first thing you do is you remove the SIM of the phone.
Hmm.
Okay, that is one thing you must do. Remove the SIM from your phone. And second, don't switch off the Wi-Fi from the phone. Go to the place where your Wi-Fi is connected and switch the Wi-Fi off. You
Okay.
don't switch off because on the phone is cloned by somebody. Okay, so if you switch off the Wi-Fi, he will put the Wi-Fi back. But if you remove the SIM, he can't put the SIM in. Okay, that's number one. Number two, don't go to the Wi-Fi and switch it off. He or she can switch it on. Just go where your Wi-Fi ka router is there, no? Switch off the router, bus. Then your phone comes back to you. Then you reset the phone.
Okay. So this will help in case of digital arrest.
No, this will help in case of where people have downloaded an app on your mobile by
All
clicking
the
it.
malfunctioning APK
Uh,
virus hardware softwares.
now,
Okay.
and for digital arrest, na, it is all about knowledge, boss. Okay, no government body will ever call you for any of that.
Okay.
Okay.
Right. You're right. You're right.
Uh,
Correct.
but
Correct. Correct.
but please understand, many of us don't know, na.
Hmm.
Maybe we are little bit more understandable. We may understand, but a lot of people may not know it. And in panic, they do. Okay, कि तेरा भाई मर गया.
Hmm.
Okay, and all that. They do it in panic more than anything else. Okay. So those are some of the things of what you should do as a person, lay person. Okay.
Right.
And the most important thing, okay, is, and I know it is difficult for all of us in stress, but can we use our common sense and figure out कि वो हो सकता है क्या? It even if you give you 30 seconds to start thinking, no, ये possible नहीं है, मैं नहीं उठाऊंगा. So now what has happened is a lot of funny memes have started coming in, where they talk to those people, make fun of those
I
people.
know.
So what is happening is people are now also understanding कि वो हमको
Right.
येड़ा बना रहे. Okay, and we can be funny with them. And
Yes.
then I'll tell you, once I got a phone like that. When I told him, now उसने माँ बहन का गाली दिया था मेरे को.
Oh.
Okay, so that's how it works. So, but yeah, being careful is important.
Right.
Try
Right.
whatever best you can. See, whatever best. And one interesting thing, nothing to do with DPDP. If you ever have this data going out, your transaction, immediately call up the bank. They will just cut off your UPI that very second.
Okay.
So these are tips. These were not for this, but I'm just, since you asked about it,
Of course.
but this is how you can do. Now with DPDP, maybe some of this can be protected. We are not sure at this point of time.
Correct.
But many things are more commonsensical rather than technical.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. So what will happen now from the person who's holding the data, maybe an individual, maybe a business? What happens if they break the rules as per this DPDP Act?
Simple. You have to pay penalties.
Okay.
The penalties can be as high as 250 crores. Okay. Which is much more than what GDPR recommends.
Okay.
Okay. Or it will be 0.1% or something of your turnover. And please remember, this is for every breach. Huh?
Oh my God. So
It
per
is
breach.
yeah, it is not for one company. Means एक बार हो गया, तुमने पैसा भर दिया, तो you are settled. No, it's not like that. Every time a breach happens, you have to pay.
So it's getting paid to government, or it'll get paid to the person who's
that is again area of dispute.
okay, because see, if my data someone is using, ideally he should be paying it to me, right?
Yeah. But what will you do with the money? See,
Right.
you lost your data, right? Look at it from a customer perspective. Na, chalo, मैंने पैसा दे दिया, but it is not, it is not a sucker to you that boss, that my data is lost anyways, right?
Correct.
So that's the way it is. Okay. Then obviously other things could be, people who are powerful, you may want to have a legal case against you, no? Somebody may have a legal case against you. Then obviously, see, if you're a bigger company like a Facebook, and a lot of scrutiny happens anyways. So you will come under regulator scrutiny and all this stuff. And
actually,
that's
Facebook,
RBI.
I mean, some
That's
companies.
Sorry.
Some companies have faced legal cases on what they do with their data as well.
That's why I like RBI so much. They have, ensured that you are squeezed at the bank. And tum ek rule todo, boss, you had it. Can you believe? For 1 year, MasterCard couldn't do a shit in India because RBI blocked. HDFC Bank, they couldn't sell a credit card because of this, because of their technology not in place. Now Kota Bank is going through that thing. So what I'm trying to tell you is that RBI has been doing that. SEBI has been also been doing that. But there are a lot of other people who have not been doing it. See, I'll tell you, one of the places where I have immense respect is the Taj Group of Hotels. From day one, they believe in privacy of a person.
Okay.
So, we would want to eliminate, use these kind of customers, these kind of people to see how data needs to be valued.
Correct.
We value data. Okay, Taj as a company values data immensely. They are highly respectful.
Okay.
So as a person and as a company, you have to do it. Because remember, finally, the company is run by a person whose data tomorrow somebody else can steal.
Correct. You're right. Absolutely. That makes sense.
So that is what you may want to have a look at as a person. So, and you may want to, as a CA, you may want to engage with your customers and tell them, okay, just as a habit, that saving data of their customer will allow them lesser legal scrutiny.
Yes. So like how we have to do it with our clients have to do it with their clients and stuff like that.
So if you have heard of a concept called as GRC.
Okay, no.
GRC stands for Governance, Risk and Compliance.
Oh, yeah. Of course.
Okay. So if you're doing, so now a lot of CA companies are saying, okay, yeah, GST, VST, okay, can we get into GRC? Because there's a bigger, audience of people who you can support.
Correct.
And data becomes, see, I'll tell you, data, like how Mr. Ambani said, now is the new oil. You have to protect oil, right?
Correct. So absolutely.
So that's my, to bit on that part of it, on what they can do.
Now, who is the regulatory authority in this? Who makes sure that all these companies and individuals who hold digital data follow the DPDP Act and its rules? So
there will be an authority will be formed called as a DPA, or a Data Protection Authority. It is in similar lines like TRAI. You have quasi judicial powers, and they will have that whole setup. Okay, government does always that. The bureaucracy has to be there. So what is happening is there will be an authority called as the Data Protection Authority. Okay. And they will also have, it's like if you have heard of a TRAI, or if you have heard of SEBI. So they're quasi-judicial body, no? So something like that will happen. Now there's another problem there. Now, when now let's say a data breach happens in a bank, okay? Now, who do they report, RBI or DPA? That's another subject matter of discussion.
Maybe all this has to be put into place as yet.
So that's why the rules are discussed. Okay,
Absolutely.
and they will have their own, and every, I think so, there will be a certain limit over which you may have to have a data protection officer.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Because definitely, like when so many stringent rules are there, the penalties are so high, and government as well as public is going to take this very seriously. So
Correct.
then a lot of things have to be put in place.
Correct.
So maybe going forward there could be something like data protection audit. We don't know.
Correct. Lot of things are going to happen. See, there is lot of new businesses will come focused only on data protection.
Right.
Okay?
And
Lot of
that
businesses.
that would have to, yeah.
And some of the people who are going to make, who have a great opportunity in getting into that businesses are CAs and CSs.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Because
so GRC will play a very, very big role now. And
mhm.
from my limited understanding, I'm still figuring out that a lot of this data thing will also be part of your balance sheet. You may want to check with your, body that how all that also will be covered. So I don't know at this point of time.
Yes, maybe once this act comes into force, even all the other professional bodies will see how to, incorporate this within the, structure of their own other professional matters.
Right.
So
Now,
that would be
as a CA, I am from my limited understanding, it is going to be a huge impact.
right.
Huge impact. Now, suddenly you're charged 250 crores. Suddenly that entire company may collapse.
Right.
We don't
Absolutely.
know.
That's very true. That's very true. So the companies will definitely start taking this very seriously.
Yeah, they don't have a choice. Means
Yes.
as an individual also you will not have a choice, huh?
Hmm.
Legally. See,
Correct.
nobody may sue a individual, huh? Okay.
Correct.
मीन्स अभी इट इज वेरी इनोकियस राइट किधर से तू मसाला उठाया तेरा फोन नंबर लिया तो ठीक है ना यार छोड़ दो बट नाउ द सेम थिंग सम बिगर कंपनी डज इट देन व्हाट विल हैपन
Yes. Yes. True.
so this is my take on it so I hope people take it very seriously because it is a serious thing it's not a
Yes. 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 So thank you, Vinayak. Thank you for this very valuable inputs, and many of these things I myself wasn't aware, and now we have more awareness on how we can protect our data and what rights we have towards protecting our data from various corporates or various other sole proprietor businesses and many more. So. We are grateful that you spent your time talking to us and giving out all this knowledge and information. Thank you so much.
thank you so much for your time
If you found this video to be educative, like this video and share it with your friends and family to spread the awareness about the DPDP Act. Also subscribe to our channels to get more such educative videos in the future. Thank you.